Hey guys, what's up? It's Imurgency and welcome back to our channel. Today's video is giving very much low budget, very much filmed on the spot because it is. I'm actually in Maine right now. I'm helping my baby brother move into college because he's finally going to college and I wanted to be there for the monumentous occasion. So I am not at home base, I'm not where I normally am. So excuse the lighting. We're running off hotel lighting and hotel Wi-Fi. So let's see how this goes. I literally just finished watching Control Z. I have so much I want to say because there's just so many things that are going on. I did what I normally do and I comboed season 1 with season 2 and just binge watched the whole thing. But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts and we need to talk about it. But before we do that, if you are new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button and to turn on my post notifications so you never miss when I post. And before we get into anything specifically about Control Z, here is a quick word from this video sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is your one-stop shop for all things website and domain hosting. Squarespace is great for anyone that is trying to create their own website for whatever reason, whether that be somewhere to host your own resume and portfolio, a website to open your own online store, or just a place to get started to host all of your creative projects like blogs, podcasts, music, or anything of the sort. One of the best things about Squarespace is that it's highly customizable, so that means you can make it fit really any vibe that you're trying to have while also keeping things super snazzy and professional. Now, I personally use Squarespace as a place to keep my portfolio all together, basically showing the collection of all the work that I've done so far in like school or in social media, so that whenever I do apply for jobs or contact sponsors, it is all laid out there and people think I actually know what I'm talking about, which I will say is always a plus. Once again, Squarespace has hooked us up with a deal, so if you're interested in hosting your own website or domain, you can visit squarespace.com, and once you're ready to go live with the website, you can go to link squarespace.com/emergency or use code emergency at checkout to get 10% off of your first website or domain. Thank you so much, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Let us get back into talking about Control Z. Okay, Control Z. When I first heard the name of the show, I really thought it was about to be a bunch of like Gen Z zombies, because Control Z gave like very much zombie apocalypse, very much trying to survive, but it actually was nothing of the sort. Control Z is like a really weird fusion between Elite and like 13 Reasons Why, because especially with like season 2, it really gave like 13 Reasons Why season 2 or 3, like after Hannah Baker's, and it was just really interesting because everyone in the show was so messy and so unhinged. And let me give you a little bit of background. Control Z basically follows the two main characters, Sophie and Javi, who are both students at this private school, and there's this mysterious hacker that hacks into, I guess, all of the schools and students' phones and devices that were all connected to the school's Wi-Fi, and threatens to blackmail and expose all of their deepest, darkest secrets. And let me tell you right now, each of these students do have some pretty intense secrets. And following that in season 2, a lot of the actions that happened in season 1 because of the secrets getting leaked end up in one student being unalived. And this Avenger, as they call it, basically doing a similar thing to the hacker, but actually going out and like causing harm to a lot of the students in a way to get revenge for the people that led to this one particular student's unalival. And that by itself is really interesting, but that doesn't even account for all of the mess and drama that occurs in this show. So let's start off by talking about Sophie. Sophie is a mess in and of herself. She has a missing parent in season 1 who's like presumed to be dead but actually isn't dead and is actually alive and well and just has been like hiding the fact that he's been dead. I really did not understand that whole subplot. From what I understand, I could be wrong, basically, I guess their family was going through like some kind of financial struggle, so the dad thought, maybe if I take out a life insurance plan, then croak, then my family can be better off without me. And he does that and fakes his own death, but like, okay, like you could have just like stayed with your family, like that's a lie. But in addition to that, after her dad supposedly dies, her mom ends up going out and almost gets married to her principal, which makes things very awkward, as you can probably imagine. And throughout the 2 seasons, she's in like a conflict of interest between 2 guys, one of them being Javi and the other being Raul, who ends up being the hacker in season 1. So there's really no reason for her to like Raul, but she somehow finds a way to, and then actually ends up with Javi, not because she actually likes him, but basically out of spite because her actual crush, and one that I personally think she could have and should have ended up with, Javi, falls for some kind of charm of another girl who is a whole mess in and of herself. But since I mentioned him, let's talk about Javi. Javi's big secret is that he was a participant in one student's at his other school's unaliveable. Yeah, the show is like very raw, gritty. They don't really hold a lot back. He's also the son of like a super famous soccer player, and his dad is also not the best guy. But basically what I'm bringing Javi up for is that he in season 2 really just angered me. It really feels like they intentionally made him do really stupid stuff so that he wouldn't be a part of the main plot, so that Sophie could have like her time to shine, which is great, but it feels oddly calculated that he wasn't a part of like most of season 2. Like he didn't really have any reason to make like a stupid decision. Basically what happens is Javi and Sophie go to this one party, and before this party, Javi and Sophie have like built up a lot of tension, a lot of like relationship-y vibes. Like it definitely feels like they're like going to be something. But Javi's main problem with Sophie is that he never actually makes a move, and he never actually, I don't know, confesses his feelings for her and keeps it really up in the air. Like even though there's clearly like interest both ways, he'll never actually do anything about it and make any moves about it. But because he misunderstands a conversation and interaction between Raul and Sophie, he goes off the deep end and is like, you know what, I'm going to find the nearest person who gives me attention and make them my girlfriend. And that's exactly what he does, because he finds this one girl, Natalia, who is, like I said, MS. She's like involved with like drug dealers and stuff and basically just using him for money. He finds her. They have no connection, and all of a sudden they're like in a relationship, and he's able to like put on the moves for her. Basically does everything that he probably should have done and could have done for Sophie for her. And that just really didn't make any sense for me. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And again, communication is on 0 because it's a teen drama. So I was like really happy when in season 2, like the relationship kind of like faltered out. And honestly, this made me really think about like Javi as a character and like what kind of moves he's making. And like I said, also thinking about Sophie's character and like what moves she's making, because it really does not make sense after all that she went through. It might be some Stockholm. It has to be, because why would you fall in love? Why would you want to willingly be involved with someone who kidnapped you not even a full year later? Like, why are you getting involved with someone who kidnapped you? When people say like, I want someone that is obsessed with me, this is not what they mean. Like, I hate to say it, it is not, because this is a different level. Like, that is stalkerish type levels of crazy. And speaking about Raul, I really struggled to figure out how they're going to have him have his whole redemption arc, because in season 1 he was fully the villain and deserved everything that was coming to him, even though I don't know how he still ended up staying at that school, and how no one reported him to the police or anything after all the damages that he really caused. But I really struggled to like him throughout season 1 and half of season 2, but by the end of season 2, he still is an awful person, don't get me wrong, awful person. But for some reason, they like cooked up something in my brain that made me like rationalize, like, okay, he did this for this. And maybe he's not that bad of a person because he looks out for these people, but also the people that he's looking out for also are not great people. Something about this show is giving like Shane Dawson documentary, the way that they're able to like flip inherently bad people and make me feel like really sorry for them, just because like give them like a sob story and give me a background story to like know like why they are the way they are. Like, no, you are still a bad person. However, the way that they're telling the story is like mighty intriguing. Like, tell me why at the end of season 2 I was actually feeling for Jerry. For reference, for those of you that haven't seen Control Z, Jerry's the one that actually ends up unaliving like another student. Like, the one who croaks is because of Jerry. Like, yeah, basically Jerry was like in the closet, and like Louise had a crush on Jerry, and Jerry obviously had a crush on him, but he was like too like macho man, like too like, oh, I could never. And we find out later that's because of like his parental trauma and like because of his friends, and like okay. It doesn't excuse your actions at all, really, and then your actions afterwards really aren't excusable either. And that also transitions me into something that I kind of want to talk about. We can't not mention how a lot of these couples are actually very, como se dice, illegal. For one, why is a high schooler dating a teacher? And 2, why is a high schooler dating like a grown man, like clearly in his like late 20s? And that's not even the start of it, because then we have like Javi's dad like actively pursuing these 2 high schoolers, like the twins. Like, I honestly don't know like why so many plot points where like a clearly like overage person is with someone who's underage. Like, I don't understand that plot line. I don't know what that theme is, and I don't know why it's there so prevalently in like most of the cast. And also, before I forget, can we like have a moment to like appreciate that they actually, while it was executed horribly, but like Isabella's story in season 1, like I feel like it was really great that they at least like included like a storyline for her, although they kind of did pay her dust by giving her like only 1 season and then like actually have her have like little to no development and just have people like on her the whole season, and then to just have her like disappear, maybe not the best execution. No. Now let's transition into talking about just general plot points, hot takes, unpopular opinions, if you will. I'm gonna be honest, a lot of things in the show made me mad. Like, it made me like genuinely mad. Like, a lot of like the logic and a lot of the critical thinking, right, just was not adding up. at all. No one ever calls the cops. And I mean, like, I'm not like the one to like be like every time something goes wrong, call the cops, but like they never call the cops. Like, it's never, the only time the cops actually show up, I think, is when like someone's house is legit burning down, and that's like not a student. Like, multiple people are actually like taken out of the show, but like no one calls for any help or reinforcements. Like, each of these high schoolers think like, okay, yes, I got it. Me as a 16-year-old can stop this whole murder mystery, and I myself can nurse someone back to health. Like, call someone, please. One funny thing I do want to mention, goes back to like a character I had a really strong love-hate relationship with, was Lulu, the secretary. There was this one scene, I can't remember if it was in season 1 or season 2, where she like tries to be like a mastermind like Sophie, where she like looks at things and tries to put things together like, It's just the way that she was like walking around, like seeing gum on like a trash can, be like, I know exactly how that happened. Some kid probably just left it there. And then like directly contrasting it with like some of the actual stuff that like Sophie has to deal with, like all the graffiti on the walls, and her just being like, and this next point kind of has more to do with season 2 and sort of getting into like spoilers with season 2 with like who like the Avenger is. You know what? Actually, this video I'm gonna be nice and actually not spoil who it was. I don't understand how no one caught them. They were not sneaky about it at all. Like, how do you torch someone's house and not get caught? Like, they literally torched someone's house, like torched the victim's house, which I don't understand. Like, I get like they were trying to like reenact all of like Luis's drawings to try and like help them out. Why would you do that to like the victim's parent? Like, what were you gaining out of that? Like, I think it just goes down to like the reveal at the end, like having it be that specific person. Like, they were hyping it up to be like this like big bad, like this someone who we would never expect as someone who's like inherently evil. But like, it's really just someone who was hurt. I mean, like, okay, but it like makes all of the things that they did leading up just like kind of fall flat and like feel like, I don't know, anticlimactic or like meaningless. Like, there was no real malice in this. Like, each of these acts were really, really malicious, but there was no malice behind them because it was all just as a way to like make themselves feel better, which then opens up a bunch of plot holes of like, why did you do the things that you did if you knew it would cause more harm than actual good and like hurt the people that actually were not directly affected? It just felt like the person who was revealed at the end was like, really? It was you? Like, that was literally my reaction. I was like, really? Like, it could have been so many other people where I would have been like, and of course, like, I was still shocked to be like, oh wow, it was you, but I wasn't like, oh my god, this is so good. It was like, really? It was you? Now let's talk about things that I really, really liked about this show. And like, the main thing that I really liked was how messy it was. And I know, maybe this shouldn't be something that I was really like aspiring towards and like should not be on my top, but like, this show is so messy. Like, I thought Elite was messy, but this brings it to a whole other level. Like, the character of Rosita just being in the show is like inherently messy enough because she can't keep a secret for anything and is telling everyone's business to everybody, which, okay, I'm kind of living for that. But also like all of like the different relationships that should not be happening, like so much cheating, going behind other people's backs, so much backstabbing, exposing, like there's so much drama and mess to it all. Like, it just kept me on the edge of my seat because I was like, oh, you did what? Oh my god. Like, I don't know, it was just so much to unravel. Like, as a watcher, as an observer, I was enthralled. I guess I mentioned this before in like a different light, but I really liked how they gave more character development to all the people that we did not like and were not supposed to like in season 1. Like, I know I just said like they're just having a whole redemption arc, but I kind of like that because it wasn't a redemption arc in the sense that like everything that they did was forgiven. It was just a sense of like, we're getting more insight into how that they are living with the consequences of their actions. And I feel like that was good because if they just like killed them off in like season 1, there wouldn't have been as much like weight to their actions. And I feel like that is just such a better way to write a villain or write an antagonist, because not only does it like humanize them, but it also serves as like their own form of like penance, like their own punishment for their actions. And I just like that, but also did like to see little bits and pieces of justice come around. And might I say, like, Raul needs to invest in some door locks. Like, the way he just leaves his door open, like he does not have someone who is constantly trying to beat him up and does continuously beat him up at random times. Like, put yourself in Raul's shoes. Like, you were just random. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be at a club, you can be chilling at your house, you can be at school. This one guy, Pablo, will find you anywhere and just, without saying anything, just deck you. Like, like, if you're gonna be a bad person, at least know how to fight. Like, it was a time near the end where he was just chilling in his house and all of a sudden Pablo just jumps the fence and starts beating on him. Like, Are you not afraid? Are you not embarrassed? Like, how can you just live like that? Do you just like not care at this point? Are you used to it? But now let's actually get into like the final episode, the finale of season 2. It was interesting. It was a lot. Like, I liked that they left it off with a cliffhanger, but then brought it back, and like Sophie was like the mastermind as she is, and figured out who the culprit was. Although I will say, like I said before, having the reveal of the Avenger was very anticlimactic. And like, I hate to say it, but like the last 5 minutes really did just not make much sense. Like, the principal hears one gunshot go off on the roof of her building. She's there alone. I'm like, okay. She's like, you know what? Maybe tonight I will mind my own business, and she doesn't get involved. She hears the second gunshot, and if you weren't going to be involved with the first one, why would you choose to be involved with the second? Like, if anything, by the second gunshot, you should leave. So that for one was like a huh? And like 2 at the end when she's like wrestling with all the students for the money. Why are you as a principal doing all that? Like, you do not want that money. Like, you just want to keep peace. I get that. But like, you are over a ledge. You are fighting for a bag of money over a ledge at the top of your school. What are you as the adult doing? Instances like that where you're just like, a little bit of critical thinking could have gone a long way. I guess we'll figure out how she ended up on the side of the pavement in season 3, because I really do think it's gonna get a season 3 with the way that it's been like set up. I personally was not that huge of a fan of that ending, but I will be sticking around for season 3. I will say that this was a very, very, very good show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Had me hooked. I was binging the show. Since the show is still so fresh and my rating will likely change when I have more time to think about it, I'm going to give this show like a solid, I want to say an 8 out of 10. It took the best parts of Elite and some of the good parts of 13 Reasons Why, I combine them together and you get this. That's like literally the best way I can describe it. But that was Control Z, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you are new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think about Control Z and what shows I should watch next. And if you want to keep up with me, you can follow me on all my social medias here at Imurgency, and click the link in my description down below to interact more with me and be a part of the community in our Discord server. Thank you so much, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Again, you can go to squarespace.com/emergency or use code emergency at checkout to get 10% off of your first website or domain. But other than that, y'all, thank you so much for watching. I've been Emergency, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.